will it. He will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowk.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowk with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Wednesday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. We've got all kinds of things to discuss. Plenty of college football topics out there. Oklahoma has hired co-offensive coordinators. College football rankings, college football playoff rankings came out, the next to last version. And there was some people doing some head scratching on the Twitter sphere last night because they felt like their team was being snubbed. So we'll talk about that. And then we're not going to have time to necessarily discuss all the scenarios that are possible, you know. So I guess my question is to you guys out there, which scenarios do you want us to discuss tomorrow? We can do it tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like what happens here, who's in, who's out, da-da-da-da-da. So which one of those are you most interested in? And then we can, jot them down or what have you, and then we can really take a deep dive into a bunch of the college football stuff tomorrow. Why is that tomorrow? Because today is going to be pretty high school basketball heavy. Elkett head coach Sean Ham is going to come join us here at 9:30. Get his thoughts on the upcoming season as the Elk City basketball teams will tip off their season Friday night over in Weatherford. Coach Ham's got some players back, lost some of last year's team, but a bunch of young ones that people are really super excited about moving up through the ranks of the Elkett basketball program. So we'll get Coach Ham's thoughts on that, and then tomorrow we'll have Coach Stevens, Coach Sam Stevens of the Big Elks will join us to talk about the upcoming season for the Brown and White as they open. I don't think we could possibly think of a tougher opening game on the schedule than having to go to Weatherford, but we'll see. Get an idea, a little measuring stick right off the bat, right? It's the way it happened last year as well. So we'll have both Elk City coaches in this week, Sean Ham today and Coach Stevens tomorrow. Talk about some high school hoops from last night. We're getting closer. I really thought it was yesterday or Monday, but it's next Monday. We're getting closer to the first set of rankings released. I was so excited to talk about the rankings this morning, and then I went to this page and realized it's next week.
One more week.
Darn it. But that's coming up, and so let's make some guesses. Had some teams in the Paragon Network or teams out in the Western Oklahoma, if and where they might be ranked coming up next week on Monday once those rankings are released on Monday afternoon. So we hit that. The games last night. Also, something that we've kind of missed. I mean, everything's so busy when the week starts, right?
Oh, yeah.
But how about Dale? Did you see that?
Yeah, they went out of state. Where'd they go?
They went to Illinois. And
yeah.
It was a tournament of exclusively made up of invites to reigning state championship teams. And they proceeded to acquit themselves unbelievably well at that tournament. Dayton Forsyth, the OU signee, MVP of that tournament. I mean, they played some highly ranked teams across the country. We can hit that. And then next Wednesday, we're going to debut. That's Wednesday. I'm thinking Wednesday is going to kind of be the high school basketball day.
I like it.
We've got games on Tuesday nights. Looking forward to games on Friday or even like next week. There will be tournaments all over the place that different teams are going to. And so we're going to are we going to call it the pick and roll? We did that pick and roll show on Paragon TV a few years back.
The give and go.
The Skinny on Sports give and go.
Because we're going to be going a lot pretty quick.
We're going to have some of the
something like that, yeah.
Some of the guys and gals that follow the teams in the Paragon Network. I know we've got Lake. Lake said he would be in to do this. Luke over at Rapo Butler, and then also Talon out at Eric for sure. We kind of got them committed, so we can go around the horn a little bit. as we talk about the basketball. So that's something that's going to be coming up on Wednesdays throughout the basketball season in the high school ranks. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That is 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about all of those things or anything else that might be on your mind. Feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, you can stay in touch with the show a couple of ways. You can log on to kadsam.com or download the app. The app has it all. It's got radio, the Penny News, brand new edition of the Penny News hit the website last night at midnight. ThePennyNews.com is how you check that out outside of the app. Or you can also check out Big Elk and Paragon TV. There was high school hoops on Paragon TV last night. Everybody will be playing on Friday almost. So lots and lots of high school basketball from here through the end of February into the 1st of March. And then, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast. You can find that anywhere. Anywhere podcasts are available. How are you today, Jared?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day outside. One step closer to the basketball season starting for Elk City. Also, another thing that we can get to is in the high school ranks yesterday. It was a pretty cool ceremony. I got to attend the signing ceremony of Cash Mayfield.
That's right.
Who has been committed to play baseball at Oklahoma State since before he even threw a varsity pitch here at Elk City. And so he finally made it official yesterday, put pen to paper. And so Cash will be joining the Oklahoma State Cowboys baseball team starting next year. It was interesting to, when you're at those things, and it's, sometimes like your season's over, right?
Uh-huh.
When those signing ceremonies happen. A lot of times it's that way. Unless you're playing this week in football, if somebody's, of course it hadn't happened yet, but like in December, signing day for football, well, the season's over. But in this case, the season is still yet to come in the spring. So that was kind of an interesting, this is great and this is awesome. Like for him, I'm not even saying like everybody there, like he got some thoughts from him that I guess we could play about this. But he talked about, this is great and it's a lifelong dream, and this and that. But there's still things that they need to be handled coming up in the spring.
Like?
Go win a state championship.
Right. Right.
Here, I tell you what, let's play this. If you didn't hear it last night, I had it on the sports report. But here is the first one is going to be him talking about how easy a decision it was because of his love for Oklahoma State.
I've always been an Oklahoma State fan ever since I was little. Both my parents went there for college, and we've just been based around that college. And I ended up having a few phone calls with other colleges, but Oklahoma State had a special place in my heart, and I just went ahead and just stood there because it felt a little more like home.
It's been kind of odd. You never even heard anything since he committed there. You never even really heard any sort of wavering through the grapevine at all.
No.
Just say, I'm going to OSU and kind of get an idea of it there. I gave you some numbers yesterday. I was having you guys guess because I added this stuff up.
I about fell down on one of them.
So his freshman year, he really didn't throw much. A little bit of shoulder trouble, I think it was. So he didn't throw hardly at all. I do remember him in the regional up at Heritage Hall. He was out there for a little bit. But so the last 2 years have been really kind of the two for the high school seasons that he's been out there game after game. In kind of
the
been,
rotation,
the ace of the rotation,
right?
And so in the last 2 years, he has thrown 92 1/3 innings, and in those 92 1/3, that means he has faced 348 hitters in those 92 1/3 innings. He has given up 11 earned runs, 29 hits, and the number that was almost jaw-dropping. Because if you think, okay, half of, basically 350 is 175. So if you're striking out half the dudes, that's 175. He struck out 210 of the 348. That was the one where I was adding up like, oh, my goodness.
Do the numbers twice to make sure you didn't miss anything.
Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, 210 Ks, and he walked 38. And that number, it was from his junior year or his sophomore year to his junior year, was cut in half. Almost literally in half. From 25 his sophomore year to 13 a year ago. So if you just kind of keep on extrapolating that out with a similar number of hitters faced, he's basically at this point would be striking out, say, 120 and walking 5 or 6. I mean,
That's unreal.
It's pretty crazy. But congratulations to Cash.
But I got to ask the question everyone's on. That's yes, he's committed, but will he go? You're mentioning numbers that are going to get a lot of Major League Scouts' attention here.
Sorry, I mean,
I'm asking the question. No, I mean, I don't know if you asked him or talked to him about it. Was the subject even broached? Or these are incredible numbers. I'm sure a lot of OSU fans are hoping I'm wrong here, and a lot of OU fans are, man, I don't want to see this dude. Or I guess Big 12 fans. So what are his chances? Are you looking up some early prospect stuff?
Yeah. This is all college kids. It's everybody. This is just college.
I mean, that discussion's going to have to be had. I mean, I got a feeling there's going to be pretty interesting crowds at some Big Elk baseball games with a lot of contraptions pointing at him when he pitches. I mean, do they even use the jugs thing anymore, or do they have the little pocket one?
A couple years ago when I was watching, what was that guy's name? Jackson Jobe.
Yeah.
At Heritage Hall.
Yeah.
They still had the jugs guns.
Okay. I wonder if those are more accurate than others. Than the smaller ones that look like a phone. Especially, I mean, if they're playing in the metro area, I bet you that place will be. He's going to get a lot of attention. That's what I'm going to be watching for. Point is, his future is very bright. Can't find anything.
I'm looking. I don't know if I'm in the right year. Here it is. So this one says number 199. I'm telling you right now, it's higher than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's always that opportunity. I thought one thing that was pretty interesting, in talking to him, and we play this sound too. I asked him, when you hear those numbers from the first couple of years, you think, my gosh, I mean, how good is the guy? And so my question to him was, what can you improve on?
Good question.
In your senior year.
Yeah, I mean, you're mentioning numbers, they get better and better each year. I mean,
yeah.
How do you get better from that?
Here's what he had to say.
I'm probably going to have to say something about having some of that body language. I feel like some of my body language can kind of affect some of the team because I have caught on to it. I can easily kind of like bring that up a little bit because they do feed off of that. So like they know, it's like they see how you work and they see how you act, and it kind of feeds off onto the team. So if I act like I've been there before, I mean, then that'll just feed off to the team and we'll kind of come up together.
It's a good response.
It's a grown-up response, I think, in a team. You know, his answer wasn't, how can I get better? It's how can I get better to help the team. Here's this one. Let me see what this website is. It's just Prospects Live, MLB Draft, number 7, the number 17 high school.
Number 17?
Number 17 in, as far as high school players.
Do we know any scouts?
You know,
do we know any scouts around here?
Maybe top couple rounds. What are there, 30?
Yeah.
It's top couple rounds. And then at that point.
And I don't know what the money looks like.
Millions.
Even in 2 rounds?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But good point on the text line. With the NIL capabilities, that changes things a little bit maybe. to where you're not forced to have to take the money and go on the pro side of things. You could make money and stay in college if that's something that you want to, depending on how much it is. I mean,
that is a good point.
It'll be interesting to see. I can assure you, probably any old game you want to go out to Ackley Park this spring, if you just sit down in the stands, you will see jugs guns in the crowd. I would guess just about every single one of them. Just any time.
We need to find a scout. We need to get them on the air. I wonder if we know any.
Call Billy Bean, Brad Pitt.
Yeah. I watched that movie the other day. That's a great movie.
It's weird because you see, like on like Facebook or Instagram, you see the reels. All of a sudden, these movie clips are starting to make it.
Yeah.
Into the reels, and that's a Moneyball is one of those. There's two movies that it seems like are always there: Moneyball and Draft Day. Just pop up.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
I think they base it off of your search history or what you're clicking on your social media. You're probably clicking a lot of sports stuff. Yeah, but I watched that movie the other day. It's pretty good. Pretty good movie. It's one you start and you can't stop. I'd love to find a scout just in general, not just about this subject. That'd be a good interview. I'm sure there's some out there.
Yeah, and
probably listening right now.
We actually brought it up to Jim one of the times we had lunch, and he immediately whipped his phone out and started texting Josh Holiday.
Well, yeah.
About,
Well, maybe we can get.
And he was looking at us like, "What do you mean? This guy's good." I think there might be some concern about him actually making it to Stillwater.
Yeah.
From the OSU side of things, obviously not here. That'd be a pretty cool thing. All the research I could do, it's the first Division I signee from Elk City since 2007, which was a double Division I signee year. That can't have happened very often in Elk City high school history.
And who was that?
Cade Davis and Jennifer, back then, DeGarmo.
That's right.
Cade played basketball at OU. Jennifer started at Wichita State. So
that's right.
Cool stuff. Very, very, very cool stuff there yesterday for Cash, and congratulations to him and the family. Baseball's been in their blood for years and years and years, and it's kind of the first culmination of all the hard work and all the dedication. And I mean, the parents, Monty and Jenny, gosh, I can't even imagine the hours and the money that it takes, in that position. So kudos on them. Last night, high school. Go ahead.
Final thought. I mean, and I'd love to ask his parents this question: was when did they know that this kid was special, right? Or is this like a natural thing, or he just had the drive and you took him to lessons and you played year round? I mean, I wonder when they knew as a parent.
I mean, think about, for us, you and I, what we do in the fall. How many times would we be at Big Elk Stadium at 1:30 on a Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock, whatever time, nobody was there.
Mm-hmm.
And who would we see running 400s or running stairs?
That's right.
Him.
That's right.
He was out there all the time, all by himself. It was just him. Running sprints, running stairs, running long, whatever it might be. He was out there almost every single time, all by himself.
I think I remember when he was an 8th grader, and it was at a football game. It was pregame. We weren't even on air yet. And he was on the sideline just, in street clothes and just whipping that ball like 40 yards easy in the air. And I remember saying to you, who is that kid? And you're like, that's Monty's son. And he doesn't play football.
Yeah, he did then.
Yeah.
So he broke his hand. And it was like, that's probably a bad idea.
Forget this. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Last night, high school hoops. The small school ranks. You had Bingeroni beating Arapahoe Butler 54-43 on the girls' side, 51-46 on the boys. Hammond and Cheyenne Raiden split. Lady Warriors 57-44 winners over the Lady Bears. The Bears got the revenge in the boys' game 62-52. Sentinel swept Eric 41-17 in the girls, 61-41 in the boys. Leedy swept Sharon Mutual 78-7 in the girls, 76-22 in the boys. And then Hollis got things started last night with a couple of wins down in Blair, 56-25 on the girls' side, 66-51 on the boys. Kind of got me to thinking about like I said, I thought the rankings were this week, and it turns out they're not until next week. So when you look at the record so far for the teams that we cover, and I'm going to throw Sentinel in here as well because they've got off to really good starts on both the girls and the boys' side. I think, Hammond's obviously going to be ranked on the girls' side. Leedy's going to be ranked on the girls' side. I think Canute is going to be a team that maybe people weren't sure about, but at 5-1, how can they not be in the first top 20 in Class A?
I'd easily put them top 20, sure. Yeah, that last game a week ago was a wake-up call and maybe a good one, but showing some things that they need to work on. Now, they got a tough test on Friday against the Merritt girls, but I think they're proving that they're going to be perennial top 20 team under Coach Ridling.
That's another one. Hollis and Merritt just got started. Hollis won last night. Merritt's beat Cordell on Monday night. I think the Lady Oilers are certainly going to be somewhere in that top 20, if not top 10 or higher with what they brought back off of last year's team.
They got an early test over at the Bertha Frank Teague. And, we talk about the 5 county and what that means. Let's see what they do over there in Ada. And they return a lot. They got a deep bench as usual. It's a good program under Coach Doherty. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do this season.
Boys' side, Canute, the biggest surprise of the teams here at 5-1?
They're so athletic. I don't know if surprise is the word. Maybe pleased if you're a Canute fan because of what they were last year, so young and made a lot of youthful mistakes, and they look like they've cleaned that up. They're making smarter decisions. They're hitting their shots. They can surprise some people, I think, if you're not ready for them. If they can hit those shots. Now they got Luke Spitz, but size might be an issue underneath if it comes to that. But if they can hit their shots, they got some sharp shooters on that team. Jackson Beck, mainly one of them, and of course Butler. And then Friday night too. I mean, Merritt's always produce a good team, and there's going to be some other challenges down the road. And I was just thinking about this last night. We talk about Sentinel being one of those really good teams in boys, and we've had this discussion before. But who else, right? So Canute can. I think if you're not ready for them and if they're hitting their shots, look out because they almost did that to Sentinel.
Yeah, Cheyenne Raiden 4-2, maybe a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
Leedy 4-2, they're always going to be what they are. And then a team that I would say is going to get better and better through the year because of the adjustment they've had to make early on to a different style and a different coaching, a different guy on the sideline. I'd say Hammond 2-3 now, but you can already see them starting to improve. Early season they were getting kind of blown out. Now, even in losses, though, they're playing people a lot tougher. That would be the one team on the boys' side that I would say, watch out. They're going to be better by the time it's over than they are now. And then on the girls' side, how about Cheyenne? I know they're young, but that can be a team to be able to watch out for as they move along the year on the year as well.
Coach Carlson's got a group of freshmen, I'm told, that have been playing together for a long time, like year-round, and with that Ravens squad and stuff like that. So I think last night, just from – because I was driving, I wasn't able to watch, but I was getting some messages saying that looks like Cheyenne jumped out on Hammond early, but then Hammond settled down and got the win. But Cheyenne, kind of like Canute, can surprise some people with their youthfulness, and they're going to be good. They're just going to get better each year with that if that group stays together.
Talking some high school basketball, and pleased to be joined now by the head coach of the Elk City Elkettes. It's Mr. Sean Ham. Coach Ham, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys today?
Hey, before we really dive into what you're here to talk about, give us your thoughts on what happened yesterday afternoon. Do you like the hire of the co-coordinators with Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley, or were you looking at something a little bit more splashy in your mind?
Indifferent. I mean, the stuff I read, they're really high on Littrell and stuff, and stuff. He seems like he's going to keep a lot of the continuity and stuff. And the stuff I read last night was all positive, kind of looking at some of his stuff he's done in the past, where he's been and stuff. So I think he'll do a great job.
Yeah, I just pulled up an article. It's a big old long one that I started reading, and then I didn't really get through it yet. So I'm going to reserve my opinion until tomorrow.
Perfect.
All right, so how's it going?
Whoa. We can't have him in here because I got a brother here with me, a Texas Rangers
Oh,
fan.
no.
I don't care what happened yesterday. What about November 1, buddy? How are you reacting on that night
That was a good day.
that we waited so long for?
No, that was a good day. I was afraid I was going to be one of those people in my entire lifetime and didn't see my team win the World Series.
Amen.
And after the nightmare of a decade ago, it was nice. And so, no, I really didn't think we would compete this year for that. I thought maybe we'd get in the playoffs or something, but the masterful Bochy, he's the man.
I keep on waiting for my phone to light up, but it just hasn't yet.
I'm going to be nice to him today.
Well, and then, I mean, heck, it's kind of the year of Ham because your alma mater is now playing for the Class C state title.
How about them Ryan Cowboys?
Let's see, that was going to be my question. What are they?
The Ryan Cowboys.
The Ryan Cowboys.
Supposedly, Pistol Pete came from Ryan. Supposedly. That was a story that was there when I was growing up, but we had Pistol Pete, orange and black in our hallways and stuff, and so, but anyway.
Now, for those that don't know, where is Ryan?
Way down south. 45 minutes south of Duncan. It's about the size of Hammond. It's not very big, 8-man and stuff, but so they, in the 90s, they were a big juggernaut. I think they went to 4 or 5 straight state championships and lost to Morrison
every time.
Every time, and so they've already played Tipton once this year. I think they lost by 8 in a district game, so Ryan got second. So maybe they'll avenge that loss this Friday. So I'll be with them in spirit.
Man, that's a pretty good district if you get the state title game.
It is, and I think they're pretty young. I say pretty young. I think the majority of their team comes back next year, so they may have a run here for a couple of years to kind of go compete for it.
All right, so speaking of young, I know you've got some youth on your team coming up this year. Gone are some names that, gosh, I'd said for 4 years off of last year's team, but you do have returners. Ella got a bunch of time, Abby got a bunch of time, Elo, and then Kaz, we saw her a little bit as well. So tell us kind of what you've seen so far in the preseason leading up to Friday night in Weatherford.
We are very youthful this year. I think we've got 3 seniors. Emily Lawrence, you referenced her, Summer Wiebe, and Arlith Luna. They're going to be our 3 seniors this year. We're in the growing stages right now. We do some really good stuff, and then we do some kind of youthful, goofy stuff at times. But I've gone home and told my wife every day after practices and scrimmages. I said the mistakes we're making. Excuse me. It's just not knowing yet. It's not gelling together enough. It's not because we're not playing hard. We're not giving maximum effort, not going as hard as we can. And so as a coach, that's all you can ask for. And, we're going to do some different stuff this year to kind of curtail to our strengths and whatnot. But we're really looking forward to a positive season this year.
What do you view as those strengths, at least right now, going into the season?
I'd say right now, probably our speed. Getting up and down the floor. We've got some girls that are really good, pretty quick, really good tracksters and stuff. Even our post girls, Emily and Kaz and Lou Wyatt, and they can get up and down the floor for some tall girls really well. And so I've been really pleased with how we run the floor in transition and get back on defense and stuff. So I'd say right now that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most.
When not in transition, your half-court set, much of the same? Any wrinkles, anything you want to tell us?
Probably the same stuff that we've done in the past. Again, our guard play is probably what we're going to try to hang our hat on a lot. With our speed, try to create some driving lanes for those girls and try to get to the basket and then kick out to our shooters or dump it down into the post for some easy baskets that way.
Individually, we've seen now Abby kind of in control of the offense for the last 2 years, and I think you saw obvious growth from freshman to sophomore and decision making, and also she's as quick as anybody out there. Talk about what you're looking forward to and seeing her in her growth as a junior, and really kind of what would be the leader as far as minutes played, kind of almost her team now.
Yeah, she's going to have to take control of the offense, and she's done a really good job. She's trying to strike that balance right now as you referenced, we lost a lot of pieces. So there's times where maybe she's trying to do a smidge too much, trying to carry all the weight on her shoulders, and she doesn't have to do that. But again, just trusting our teammates and trusting each other. But last week we scrimmaged, and I told her she did a great job of getting in there, getting our shooters involved, kicking out, and then she's a great finisher at the basket and stuff. So, just trying to find that perfect balance of being attacking, being aggressive, but at the same time, make sure, when that double team does come, let's make sure we kick to the open girl and the open shooter and just make the right play, not trying to do too much.
Schedule, this foray in this area, in this conference, you get some tough opponents, and it starts on Friday night against Weatherford. You don't talk about Weatherford, but talk about the schedule as a whole and how that makes you better.
Man, our conference it's a juggernaut for sure. I think every year that I've been here and since we kind of merged into this conference, I think we're well represented in the state tournament. 3 or 4 teams every single year. I think last year Tuttle and Bethany were there. Kingfisher was there. Anadarko's been there a lot. Weatherford was playing to go there on Saturday. There's just no nights off. But like you said, it does prepare you for the district play, for the tournaments, for the regionals, all that stuff. So there's no nights off. Even when we go to Childress next week, playing all those Texas teams, I've watched some film on them. On that first day, we're playing 2 games on Thursday, that first day. And so, but it's great. We get to find out what kind of kids we've got, and our girls love the challenge. They love to go compete. So we think that's a good thing.
In your time here, not only as the head coach, but then also down in the junior high, last year, how much different is it going to be for you? Because I don't know that you've ever coached a game, either as the head coach or as the assistant, and not looked out there and saw Haley and Kaylin and all. How much different is it going to be just kind of looking out there and going, where'd they go?
It's more so for Coach Taylor. We have to Coach Taylor. That's not her name. Getting Coach Taylor to learn the names. But sorry, Coach Taylor. But you're right. I had Kaylin and Haley and Riley and all them girls. I think I was their 8th grade coach or freshman coach and whatnot. So there's a big change and stuff. And again, just when you've depended on so many girls, for so long. When the next group comes in, just everybody settling into their role and me figuring out who to get the ball to and where to go to, but again, we're really excited for the group we've got, for the core we've got. They seem to be gelling better every time we touch the floor. They seem to have great attitudes. They seem to get along with each other. One of the things we talk a lot about is our body language and our attitudes on the bench and stuff. And I remember last year, somebody make a 3 and everybody on the bench stands up or whatever it was. And, the same thing happened the other day. So those things have continued on with the girls that we've gotten. And so we're just looking to continue what all those girls have put before us and just keep carrying on and move forward.
Yeah, and there's going to be some names that we've heard a little bit, but are going to have to step up into roles that they just haven't had to play yet. One of those that we saw toward the end of the season especially really affect things on defense was Kaz Ulrich. In the post, I thought she was, in spurts, was really, really good defensively. Talk about her growth throughout the summer and now, not only on defense, I think that's kind of a given, but where she's kind of grown on the offensive side to help you put up points.
Yeah, Kaslin wants it really, really bad, and you can tell how hard she works all the time. She got on a summer team and traveled a lot this summer, as did a bunch of our girls. But she puts so much effort into what she wants to become, and her size gives a lot of people problems. But something I've noticed last week and stuff, it's not just around the rim anymore. We kick some balls out to her 8, 10, 12 feet from the basket. She's developed a lot of really good touch, hit some nice shots. Her free throw strokes looking a lot better. And so just her growth and her just being a sophomore, we're hoping she'll continue to grow a little bit. But, man, she gets it down there and Coach Taylor working on her post moves every day and just the fundamentals. And she's going to be a really bright spot for us this year.
That's a question just come up with. And back when 20-plus years ago when I played, and there was no such thing as very little amount of travel teams. So all you did in the off season was team camps, maybe volunteer workouts, then of course the stuff leading up to the season. How do you feel about all the options of of these travel teams, all your girls going maybe playing for a couple over here in this one, a couple over here in that one, and then coming back together? Or would you prefer them to kind of stick together? How do you feel about that?
I've always been a proponent of, I want everybody to go play whatever it is, whatever team you're on, but I've also been a proponent of school ball comes first. And so I want them to go do all this stuff, but when we have team camps in the summer, I expect them to show up and be a part of our team, and they did that. Our team camps are kind of during the week, kind of Monday through Thursday kind of thing, Monday through Friday, depending on where you go. And their tournaments are generally on the weekends and stuff. And it's hard, softball, we have a bunch of softball tournaments out here because of our complex and our field and stuff. Our parents that drive our kids, they're having to go to the city for practice once, twice a week, stay in hotels. And I don't know if you guys have been to a weekend game yet, but it's about $15 to get in the door for one day.
Yep.
And so it's expensive, but we've gotten more girls going every single year, and we're actually in talks, maybe trying to get some stuff out here to the Arrowhead maybe this next summer and try to generate some excitement and stuff. But I want them to go play, if it's at the park, if it's at the gym, if it's on a team. But when the bell rings and it's time for team stuff, I expect you to show up, and they always do. So I don't have any problems with that whatsoever.
As a parent that has a kid that's doing this travel stuff, please get that stuff to the Arrowhead Center, please.
Deal.
Some new faces that I know people are super excited about because of the junior high teams that have been the last couple of years. With Garbarino, with O'Hara, and some others. Talk about what you kind of expect and to see out of them and how they kind of fill in the voids of what you need coming up this season.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good junior high groups. Coach Dennard's moved on. He was a big part of that, and Coach Peffer, he coached them up and stuff. But the junior high is starting to get to where we want it to be. So when they get to high school, they can start contributing right away. And we've got a couple girls, Campbell and Lucy and Kylie, even Kaz last year. We've got some sophomores, but our just the development that's happening in our junior high right now is going to transfer into our high school and make us more competitive. So we're looking forward to some of those girls. We know they're really excited. There's going to be some growing pains and stuff, but that's okay. They have proven through practice and our scrimmages that they deserve to be out there, that they can go compete and stuff. So the more they play, the more comfortable they're going to get, and it's going to keep going for us.
I don't think, just racking my brain, I don't know that anybody in the state of Oklahoma can say that they've got a Hall of Famer coaching a 7th grade girls team.
I tell you what, when Coach McDaniel, when it got to me last year that he was interested in coming back, and he coached my wife and stuff, and I said, let's get him here, whatever we got to do, and Mr. Moran and Coach Hunt and Mr. Sparks did some stuff to make sure that happened, and Coach Gino's he's been a big hand in getting our elementary league started and stuff. So I've got 2 guys down there that are busting their butts to develop, to get things in the Arrowhead Center. I think I was still in softball, and Coach McDaniel had the girls that weren't playing softball, or even that were, up there in the gym before school shooting. I mean, he still got that fire. He still got that passion. So 2 Hall of Famers, Coach Taylor, Coach McDaniel. I've got 2 pastors on the team to try to settle me and Coach Gino down. So we really like our staff and think it's a good thing we've got going on.
All right, so we got 6:30 Friday night, season opener, Big Elk TV, the Elk City Elkets, and the Weatherford Lady Eagles. Coach Ham, thank you so much for coming and joining us. And it just seems like to me, it's meant to be, to have a great season, because every sports thing you've touched so far this year has turned to gold.
I like that. Can I get a plaque made of that or something?
Yeah, you can. We'll hang it right here, and you can come back and sign it.
I'll give Smithy one too.
Yeah. Oh, I knew it. We couldn't make it the whole segment without referencing poor John David.
You couldn't do it the whole time.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hanging out here on a Wednesday. Appreciate Coach Ham's time coming and visiting with us, previewing the Elk City Elkets season. We'll have Coach Sam Stevens, tomorrow with the boys, as the basketball is here for everybody starting on Friday. All right, Jared, what were your thoughts yesterday? Were you surprised how quickly the offensive coordinator hire happened at Oklahoma, or should we not be because of who was hired? There's no reason to make it go out.
No, I think if it was going to drag on, that would have told us that they were looking outside the program to make a hire, doing the interview process and all that stuff. But as quickly as it was, I actually feel, and maybe this comes wisdom with age or something, but I feel comfortable with it, and I think that was the comfortable hire that Venables was making in his decision to hire from within. Coach Ham said it, the continuity of it. There's not going to be a major overhaul in the offense. There might be some tweaks and maybe less jet sweeps, but there's going to be more familiarity with it. And I think that keeps everybody just even recruits like, okay, I chose to come to this school because of this offense, and now you just told those guys we're going to continue to do what we told you we're going to do, more or less. So I'm okay with it, co-off. But the thing that I have a little pause, that gave me pause, was the co-coordinators. Okay, so, usually, I don't know. It worked way back, between co-defensive coordinators with Mike and Brent, but that came to an end. So, we'll see how that works out. But I'm comfortable with the hire. I guess that's my answer. How about you?
It's impossible to know. I mean, the one thing is, if you look at where Seth Luttrell has been as an offensive coordinator and how that team was before he got there and how that team was after he got there offensively, they skyrocketed up, at least statistically. Every stop he made, he turned that offense around almost immediately, whether it be at Arizona, whether it be at North Carolina, wherever. He put up huge numbers. I think it's obvious that the continuity was a huge part of it, not wanting to necessarily change philosophy. Now, like you said, that doesn't mean the same plays are going to be run. That doesn't even mean the same tempo is going to be run, because when you look at Luttrell, he's in multiple stops. He's been like the third or fourth fastest tempo one year and down in the 90s to 100s the next. So what that tells me is he's catering what he's doing to his personnel, which to me was what Lincoln Riley was so good at. He had a philosophy, but he would cater to it, though. Whatever he had, one year to the next. I mean, you think about the prolific offense of 2017 and what that looked like with Baker in his last year versus then the next year with Kyler. Similar yet different, because those guys had similar yet different skill sets that he was able to take advantage of. And then, of course, the next year with Hurts, what he was able to do with those three guys.
Well, even sometimes your opponent dictates that too.
It can.
You want to keep the ball out of your opponent's hands offensively, so slow it down. It can.
That's the one thing that I think is going to be interesting, is not necessarily the plays that are called, is the tempo they play with. Because I think you can make the argument and make it pretty well with numbers backing you up. The question was asked, well, what happened to the OU defense this year? God, they looked so good early. And then what? Two things. One, injuries. And two, they played the third most snaps of anybody in the country. And part of that is their fault, not getting off the field on third or fourth down. But part of that's also the tempo with which the offense played with.
Right.
Even in almost not mattering what the result of those drives were. If it was a fast touchdown, you're still back out there. If it was a fast 3 and out, you're still back out there. The whole point is you're still back out there quickly. And so I think that's one thing that will be super interesting, especially changing the conferences, going to the SEC, how quickly that Luttrell and Joe John Finley as the co-offensive coordinators, how quickly they want to play versus trying to give their defense a little bit of a break and a little bit of a chance to kind of be at their best as well. In complementary football, it's something that we've heard, and it seemed like Oklahoma was really good at playing that at times and not very good at playing that at other times. And I think that's something that, in order for OU to get back to where they want to go, it's going to be a must to make that more of a. It has to be that way. They have to play better complementary football in order to compete at the highest levels of the new conference they're going into. This wasn't even the most interesting offensive coordinator hire of the day, though. How about Arkansas? Bringing back Bobby Petrino.
So that is a done deal.
It's done. Bobby Petrino is going to be the offensive coordinator at Arkansas.
Okay.
I mean, kids, if you're not old enough or don't remember, 2011, Bobby Petrino resigned in shame after wrecking a motorcycle with a staffer, a young blonde staffer who wasn't his wife, on that motorcycle. And now here we are, a little over a decade later, getting the band back together. I mean, listen, if Bobby Petrino doesn't ride a motorcycle out of the tunnel, game 1 in Fayetteville, what are we doing here?
That just, listen, there is no shame in college football.
No.
If it helps you win, they're like, oh, hey, we forgive you, Bobby. Who hasn't ridden a motorcycle and crashed it with a staffer that's not your wife? We're all guilty of that in some form or fashion. Come on back to Fayetteville. Sue Piggy, woo!
My favorite was when the official started to come out that, hey, this might really happen. And the official line was, Arkansas is vetting Bobby. Really? Vetting him, huh? Like, you don't know about him? All that happened on your campus.
Did you save the file, right? Or did you bury it?
So, I mean, to come full circle with Bobby Petrino is just hilarious because here's my thoughts. Nothing Sam Pittman's going to do is going to save his job next year either. Because Arkansas is already the worst team in the West, and now you bring in Oklahoma and Texas into the SEC, which they're clearly behind both of those teams. No matter what you think of OU and Texas's opportunities in the SEC, Arkansas is worse than them. Period. End of story.
Very much so.
So, are they really going to end up with Bobby Petrino as the Arkansas Razorbacks head coach in 2025? Is that where we're headed here?
Maybe they're thinking, okay, go get Bobby, and that'll show Pittman, you better listen. We got our guy, so this is your make or break year next year.
Surely he already knows that, right?
Right. So maybe that'll force some changes upon him. Whatever changes are needed. I didn't watch a lot of Arkansas football, and why would you? They're not very good.
I watched a whole game on Friday, and Missouri beat them to a pulp. And I watched a bunch of a game back in September, and BYU beat them to a pulp. So, kind of a both thing there. The 2 times I got to watch, it wasn't very great for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Let's just say that. What were your thoughts on what you saw last night on the college football playoff rankings?
I thought Michigan did enough to go to number 1, but 3 for Washington and 4 for Florida State. I thought the injury thing for Florida State was still a thing. I didn't study a lot of them playing Florida. Did you?
I watched a bunch of that game.
How did their quarterback look?
It was a little rough, but here I said this on Monday. If you want to hold it against Florida State, if you watch that game if that's just your choice is to hold it against them, there was plenty of ammo for that. Rodemaker wasn't great, but just as we saw,
is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's Rodemaker.
It's not Roadmaker.
It's Rodemaker.
All right.
But just as we saw in Alabama, so Alabama-Auburn, let's think about that game, right? A miracle that Alabama won that game. You get a break people's minds because it's Alabama winning a rivalry game on the road in way more lucky fashion than Florida State did at Florida. I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't know that it matters who Florida State's quarterback is all that much. You want to know why? Because that defense is ridiculous. And if you watched it, there's right? There's offense, defense, and special teams. That defense is ferocious. Now, obviously, Florida had a backup quarterback too, in Max Brown from Tulsa at Lincoln Christian, but he didn't have a chance in the second half because Jared Verse and whoever else was on that defensive line for Florida State was in his face immediately. And so it feels like a double standard. Some teams that won rivalry games, they're getting the, man, I can't believe how they just stuck with it. And Washington against Washington State. What a play call on 4th and 1. Man, they gave them the old college try there. But for Florida State, it's like, the quarterback's not there, so in all actuality, they had as much or more control than any of those other two teams.
Right.
And they were on the road.
Yeah.
Washington was at home, Alabama's on the road.
Well, what did I say last week? Why should it come down to one player when that whole team might be pretty dang good?
That's
and I didn't even
exactly
mention
right.
the defense. I was mentioning the skill guys around Rodemaker that just, if he just game manages, he's going to be fine because they were built for this year outside of their quarterback play. And the cherry on top was Travis, right?
Yeah.
That was the cherry, but this team overall is really good, and I failed to even realize the defense. So I think that's deserving right there at 4. They've done enough all season long, and I'll stand on it. Why punish the entire team I just mentioned because of one guy going down to an unfortunate injury? That doesn't seem fair to me.
So if the top 4 win, will the college football playoff be the top 4?
If the top 4 win, all undefeated?
Yep.
Yeah. They've made it simple for themselves. The only question is in what order.
Well,
My question would be Michigan or Georgia. I think Georgia would have the more impressive win over Alabama than Michigan over Iowa, clearly. Even though Michigan's probably going to blow Iowa's doors off.
Michigan also beat Ohio State,
And
which is probably better than anything Georgia's done.
That
right?
is that's again, that's the only question.
The only difference is what color jersey you wear and who you play.
And
But
where, maybe?
But here's the thing. That
Not
number,
really.
if you believe that Florida State isn't one of the top 4 but has to be there, who's 1 and who's 2 makes a huge difference. Because whoever's number 1 in that scenario gets to play Florida State, which is clearly, in a lot of people's minds, the weaker opponent than, say, Washington.
Right.
So that actually does make quite a bit of difference. And if all those teams win, the only argument is going to be Texas versus Florida State because everybody else will be 2 losses. And I guess Ohio State. I was shocked. I shouldn't be, but Ohio State at 6. Whatever. There's no way they get in over Texas and Alabama if it comes to chaos, right?
No, if Texas, Alabama, they're playing. If they both win,
they jump Ohio
that just
State,
can't
right?
Happen. It just can't happen.
We're going to talk scenarios.
We're
tomorrow.
going to see. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of scenarios to cover. But if the top 4 win, then it's going to be pretty boring on Sunday.
I think so. I think you're right.
It's just mapping out. That's how. Okay, they're undefeated. There's only 4 undefeateds here. The only question is where do you put who's 1, who's 2? Washington would be solid at 3.
I think that's right.
Unless they just come out looking amazing against Oregon and Michigan maybe struggles with Iowa in their defense. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.